All right, let's just dive right in. Have you ever wondered what actually makes a true scientist? I mean, it's not just about throwing on a white lab coat or memorizing a bunch of facts from a heavy textbook, right? It's really about how you approach the mysteries of the world around us. So today, in this explainer, we're going to review some absolutely essential scientific practices. We'll see how setting up proper investigations helps us make decisions with total integrity, and how applying these methods to real life kind of transforms the way we see, well, everything.
I absolutely love this quote because it frames our entire scientific journey as this magnificent divine treasure hunt. Just read it with me for a second. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter. To search out a matter is the glory of kings. Think about the weight of that. The universe is literally filled with these incredible hidden wonders, intricately designed and tucked away. And God has given us the brilliant task, the royal privilege, really, of searching them out. Science is simply the tool we use to embark on that royal search.
So here's our roadmap for today's investigation. We'll be looking at the glory of discovery, the scientist's toolkit, descriptive, comparative, and experimental investigations, and then we'll wrap up with education rooted in morality. Let's get going.
Section 1. The Glory of Discovery. Let's kick things off by looking at why we even do science in the first place and how it connects to our spiritual walk.
You know, discovery really takes time, patience, and a whole lot of strategy. It's kind of like growing in your faith. It's a step-by-step, totally deliberate process of uncovering what exists around us. You don't just wake up one morning with all the answers magically downloaded into your brain, right? Growth and understanding come step by step. When we investigate the truth using science, we're actively building our understanding of the world, piece by piece, and that takes some serious dedication and focus.
Moving right along to Section 2, the scientist's toolkit. If you're going to search out these hidden mysteries effectively, you've got to be a good detective. And a good detective needs the right tools for the specific questions they're asking.
Here's the thing. Science isn't just one single rigid method. We have to choose our strategy based on the actual mystery we're trying to solve. I mean, if you use a hammer when you really need a screwdriver, you're going to make a giant mess. It's the exact same with science. Different questions require completely different types of investigations to gather accurate data. Understanding which tool to use is going to help you ask sharper questions, design much stronger labs, and genuinely start thinking like a real scientist.
All right. Section 3, Descriptive Investigations. Let's pull out the very first tool in our kit and see how it builds our foundation.
So a descriptive investigation is basically observing and recording data without changing any variables. In this method, you aren't testing or interfering with anything at all. You're simply stepping back and describing exactly what exists. You aren't trying to prove some crazy hypothesis or manipulate an environment in a lab. You are being a pure observer, capturing the world exactly as it naturally presents itself to you. A perfect example of this in the real world is tracking the phases of the moon. Imagine stepping outside every single night for a month with your notebook. Your only action is looking up and drawing the shape of the moon. The golden rule here? No variables are changed. I mean, obviously you can't control the moon. You are just gathering pure observational data over time. Same thing goes for something like recording daily rainfall.
Which brings us to Section 4, Comparative Investigations. So, what happens when our questions get a little bit trickier and we want to look at multiple things side by side?
Notice the shift we're making here. We're moving one step up the ladder from simply describing to actively comparing. With a descriptive investigation, you're just observing one single subject, like the moon. But with a comparative investigation, you're observing the similarities and differences between two or more things. We're stepping up from asking, "What is this?" to asking, "How does this compare to that?"
To put it simply, you are examining similarities and differences without controlling every single factor. You still aren't controlling every tiny detail like you would in a strict lab experiment, but you are actively observing the differences between your subjects. This is incredibly useful when you're out in nature. Say you want to compare how two different types of soil affect plant growth in a garden. You can't control the weather, you can't control the bugs, but you can clearly examine the differences in how those two soils perform.
Picture this. You want to test whether black or white sand absorbs more heat. You're looking for differences to gather your clues. Here, Subject A is black sand left out in the sun. Subject B is white sand left right next to it. You observe and compare the temperature changes. You haven't built a fancy controlled climate chamber, but you are directly comparing two subjects under the exact same natural conditions. It's a fantastic, practical way to investigate.
Now for Section 5, Experimental Investigations. Let's dive into the heavy hitter, the absolute most rigorous tool in our kit.
Look at the huge jump we're making here. A comparative investigation observes differences without total control, but an experimental investigation, that's taking total control of the environment to test a very specific hypothesis. You are actively changing just one variable, while keeping absolutely every single other thing locked down and perfectly controlled.
So the official definition is testing a hypothesis by changing one variable while controlling all others to collect data and draw conclusions. This is what most people think of when they hear the scientific method. You come up with a hypothesis, a highly educated guess, and you test it. Actually, by controlling all the other variables, you ensure that whatever results you get are definitively caused by the one single thing you decided to change. It establishes a crystal clear cause and effect relationship.
Let's say we want to know for sure if fertilizer makes plants grow taller. We only change the fertilizer while keeping the water, light, and soil exactly the same. The fertilizer is our changed variable. Everything else, the amount of water, the hours of sunlight, the type of dirt, even the size of the pot, those must be identical, controlled constants. Think about it. If you gave one plant fertilizer and extra water and it grew taller, well, you wouldn't know which one actually caused the growth. That is exactly why strict control is the heartbeat of experimental science.
And finally, Section 6, Education Rooted in Morality. We've mastered the how of science today, but now we really need to confront the ultimate why behind the Godly Learner series. Because honestly, what is the point of being highly educated in science if we just continue to make bad choices that hurt ourselves and the world around us? Look at this contrast. Education without morality simply gives people more advanced tools to make selfish choices. But education intertwined with biblical morality, that marries your intelligence with deep, deep integrity. It ensures that as you learn to wield the incredibly powerful tools of science, you're doing so to pursue truth with excellence and to actually uplift the world.
When we pair our sharp scientific minds with a spiritual foundation, the result is deep peace of mind and true wisdom. Romans chapter 8, verses 6 and 7 actually promises this exact peace to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. This is our lived experience, and it's what happens when you engage fully with this kind of learning. Knowledge without character is dangerous, for sure. But knowledge guided by faith, integrity, and a spiritual mindset, that is literally world-changing.
So, as you tackle your homework today, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on during your own journey of divine discovery. Ask yourself, how does Proverbs 25:2 relate to the science you are doing right now? How does knowing that God has hidden these glorious mysteries, just waiting for you to uncover them, change the way you look at a simple descriptive, comparative, or experimental investigation? You aren't just doing homework, guys. You are searching out a matter like a king. Keep exploring, stay intensely curious, and remember to always anchor your brilliant discoveries in true integrity. Catch you next time.